Over 36 meters of drilling done in the collapsed tunnel. Manual drilling to begin soon. Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister speaks over the phone to the trapped workers.
आप लोग कैसे हैं? हाँ, आप लोग सब ठीक हैं? किसी की कोई तबीयत की कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है?
High protein breakfast for trapped tunnel workers. 41 packets of sattu laddu, dalia, bread, jam and boiled eggs as breakfast. They've also been given mobile phones with video games to keep them occupied. Election Commission orders Telangana government to stop Raitu Bandhu scheme till the elections. BRS leader K. Kavita says Congress scared, trying to stop a public scheme. Battle for Telangana in top gear. KCR versus Prime Minister Modi over Muslim IT park. After KCR promises IT park for Muslims, Prime Minister Modi hits out with appeasement jibe. Mumbai Indians buys Hardik Pandya in an all-cash transaction. Shubman Gill to lead Gujarat Titans this season of IPL. The Prime Minister of India strapped into a homegrown Tejas fighter over the weekend and then embarked on a 35-minute flight with Indian Air Force pilot Group Captain Debanjan Mandal. These images have been extremely evocative. They've gone completely viral. The Prime Minister isn't the first political leader or president to strap into an Indian fighter aircraft, but Modi is the first to strap into the Tejas. The Tejas is special because it is a fighter aircraft that has been designed, developed and built right here in India. It's a Swadeshi combat aircraft. It's an aircraft that is currently in service with the Indian Air Force, but the Prime Minister's 35-minute flight has also triggered some of the ugliest politics we've seen in a very long time. From the Congress calling it a Chunavi photo op, where the Prime Minister hasn't given credit to the aeronautical engineers responsible for this amazing aircraft, to a Trinamool member of Parliament saying that the Prime Minister strapping into this aircraft will now ensure that this aircraft crashes. The kind of crossfire that a 35-minute flight in a homegrown fighter has triggered is emblematic of the total decay of the conversation right before the newest cycle of elections in this country. Watch this report. It tells you about where things have dwindled.
Narendra Modi, the first Prime Minister to take a sortie in Made in India Tejas fighter jet, testifying the nation's unflinching faith in the Desi fighter jet, set to become the mainstay of India's air combat fleet. But the spectacular show in the air has sparked a ferocious political war. Congress and Trinamool Congress had huge meltdown over Modi's Tejas sortie. Congress called Modi's fighter jet ride a Chunavi photo op, highlighting how Tejas was designed by Aeronautics Development Agency, which was established under Indira Sarkar in 1984. However, TMC MP Shantanu Sen crossed all limits when he claimed that Tejas jets will crash since Prime Minister Modi sat in one.
When Mr. Narendra Modi was very much there in the country, the ISRO failed. After winning 10 consecutive matches in the recently held World Cup, just because our learned Prime Minister went to that stadium, India got defeated in the final. Now, the job has been done by Narendra Modi. I am afraid that in no time, this particular craft gets crashed.
In a scathing attack, BJP hit out at the TMC MP for wanting to crash Tejas jets and wishing deaths for the forces, driven by hatred for Prime Minister Modi.
It shows the hatred that they have not just for the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, but they hate the welfare of Bharat as well.
The bizarre remark of the TMC MP was rubbished by his own party.
ये तेजस की बात नहीं है. वो लोग कभी धर्म के नाम पे, कभी यूथ के नाम पे, यूथ और ये उग्र जो है नेशनलिज्म, उसका पॉलिटिक्स कर रहा है. हम लोग ये कंडेम कर रहे हैं. वो तेजस है तो तेजस तो अलग चीज है.
Does the political dogfight come as a new political law for our motor-mouth netas? Bureau Report, India Today.
And you're watching a debate here on 5 Live after a very, very long time. Joining me live, Charu Pragya, national spokesperson of the BJP, Mohan Kumar Mangalam, national spokesperson of the Congress Party. Mohan and Charu, welcome to you both. Charu, to you first. The Trinamool MP's comment I'll come to in just a bit because I've got a lot to say about that. But let's focus on what the Congress Party has said about the Tejas flight because it's more substantive. It's not a shameless comment like what the Trinamool was making. We, in fact, had invited the Trinamool to be part of this debate. They have declined for whatever reasons. Chunavi photo op, Charu, is the word or the phrase that has been used by Jairam Ramesh of the Congress Party to describe this. They've said, you can do what you want, but you need to acknowledge that the Tejas is something that was built by aeronautical engineers. It was the Congress Party that was in power when the project was sanctioned way back in the 1980s, etc., etc. Chunavi photo op, respond to that, Charu. You're on mute, Charu.
My apologies.
Go ahead.
A very good evening to you, Shiv. Congress spokespersons all speak as if none of the Congress leaders click pictures. What is Rahul Gandhi doing? Kabhi kuli, kabhi swimmer, kabhi he's trying to be amongst people. Aren't those photo ops too? Now, remember, you're in public life. It's your job to show to the public what are you doing with your time. Tejas is a huge jewel in India's crown. We should not forget that. In fact, whenever it may have been sanctioned, today, the way the status stands for Tejas or for a lot of our defense mechanisms is that Make in India has given a huge boost to Tejas, other fighting things. I know there's something called Akash, and you'll know all these defense things better than me. We have worked very hard under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi over the last 10 years to make India's defense sector as indigenous as we possibly can. So whether it is fighter jet or submarines, we're trying to do it all by ourselves, and that's a huge feat, and India deserves an applause for this. If there is a prime minister who's taking pride in made in India, make in India, something which is going to fly our Jawans, which is going to be, like I said, a highlight in our defense mechanisms. Why does the opposition have a problem?
Okay, so you're saying there's nothing wrong in applauding the Tejas. I got your point. Let's take this one step at a time. Mohan, bringing you in, I just wanted to quote what the Prime Minister said after this flight. He says, a flight to remember. Tejas is India's pride, a manifestation of the strength and skills of 140 crore Indians. Now, the Congress has said Chunavi photo op, the Congress had sanctioned it. The Prime Minister should be giving credit for work that was done even before 2014. I don't see where he has not given credit or taken credit for the Tejas. Why is it being alleged that this is a Chunavi photo op to take all the credit for the Tejas? Mohan.
Shiv, if you look at past elections as well, there is something called the silence period where after you end campaigning all the way to polling, you're not supposed to campaign in any which way. And the Prime Minister and important leaders in the BJP have constantly violated this time. In fact, during the last round of elections in Karnataka, Prime Minister Modi chose to go and make a speech about Karnataka in Rajasthan when polling was happening during that silent period. During this time, why do you think the Prime Minister chose at this particular moment to go ahead and have that sortie? And I think it's great, by the way, that he did it. It's not taking away from that. I'm talking more about the timing of why he's doing it. It's because Rajasthan was going to polls at that time. And Rajasthan is a state that has maybe about 1 lakh plus people from its state in the 3 armed forces. So clearly he's trying to send a message to the electorate, which again is using the loopholes in our election system, but is completely wrong. So that's the reference to the Chunavi photo. As far as the Prime Minister Modi goes, he thinks the world didn't exist before 2014. India didn't exist before 2014. And he makes a lot of comments to that effect wherever
But
he
he's
goes.
not
He
made any
started
comments
many
in
times
this
the past.
particular case on that, Mohan.
He hasn't.
In this particular case, he hasn't.
He hasn't credited the genesis of Tejas that happened all the way back in 2001. The platform of Tejas, the evolution it's gone through. He hasn't said that. He hasn't said all the hard work that's put in by the ADA, the DRDO, the HAL, the NAL. There may be 5 or 6 agencies that work together on this platform. And I am not going to take away from any of the work that's going on right now in the defense sector to indigenize either. I'll give him credit for that. What I'm all hoping for is the Prime Minister at some point in time chooses to look back and acknowledge the fact that we're standing on the shoulders of giants, especially in scientific progress we make in this country.
Okay. Charu, it's not about the Tejas. It's not about, the credit. What Mohan and what the Congress are saying is that there is a silent period. Yes, there are loopholes, yet there are cracks in the regulations. You can do what you want. But they say that the Prime Minister has done this before, and this was also a smart way of Pradarshan, a smart way of continuing the campaign even during the silent period. How do you respond to that?
I think that is Congress admitting to defeat already, finding reasons to blame their defeat on by saying that because the Prime Minister was visible and he continued to, and in their words, campaign after the campaign period was over, that's why we lost the election. I think it's only that the Prime Minister has a lot of things to do across the country. He's not contesting an election from Rajasthan. He was not on any of the seats which went in for poll just a day ago. So I'm sorry, are you trying to say that in this middle period, he's supposed to sit at home and not do any work at all? Is that what you're trying to say? I think that it is wonderful our Prime Minister takes so much pride in everything indigenous. I think it is wonderful that India is coming into its own and he's not taken credit away from anyone. He has in fact given very generous credit throughout. But you also have to understand that this push and this independence and this pride that the armed forces have today, it did not exist 10 years ago, Shiv. And yesterday was the anniversary of 26/11. 15 years have passed since that terror attack. We saw how Congress reacted to that terror attack. We saw how lax security for our country was when they were in power.
Okay. Mohan, you want to respond? Yeah, go ahead.
I want to ask the BJP spokesperson, if we're talking about pride for the armed forces, respect for the armed forces, while the Prime Minister was on a sortie, the Chief Minister of Karnataka and a number of other important leaders were receiving the body of Captain M.V. Prajal in Karnataka. Why didn't the Prime Minister, who actually went when bodies of our martyred Jawans from Pulwama came, go to that particular location and pay his respects? Maybe because there is no election in Karnataka. You have to understand that Mr. Modi's moves are entirely about where and when an election is happening. He is merely an election machine.
Can I
Go ahead,
respond
want
to
to
that?
respond?
Charu.
Sure.
Yes, Charu.
Shiv,
Go ahead.
I find that comment to be in extremely bad taste. In fact, I'm ashamed that a citizen of my country is saying this. If the Prime Minister had been present, what you would have said, you would have again said photo up. So I'm sorry, this is just not done. And nothing that you insinuate today is going to convey that our Prime Minister is not concerned with the welfare of each and every citizen of this country, and most especially every single person who's in a uniform today protecting the borders of our nation. I'm sorry, it's just in bad taste to make a comment like that. If he goes and encourages, the armed forces, you have a problem. He spends every Diwali with them, every single Diwali since the last 10 years. And I think that's been wonderful. He's flying a sortie. You have to find something to criticize. That's your problem. And that's exactly why Congress is no longer in the hearts of people of this country. They've understood how petty you are, how petty your thinking is.
We'll come to another point. Mohan, ideally, I would have liked to ask this question to the Trinamool because, it was their member of parliament who said this, but they are your alliance partner, and it appears that the comment, which I'm sure you've heard it from Shantanu Sen, who's a Trinamool MP, who said, now that the Prime Minister has flown in the Tejas, the next thing that will happen is this aircraft will crash. Because that, appears to be an extension of the whole Panoti campaign that your party has, mounted against
Shiv,
the Prime Minister.
Shiv, let me please make it clear.
I just wanted to know what you thought of that.
It's my turn to talk,
for
Charu.
more,
Let you speak and with the bloodies. I want to make clear the Congress party has not mounted any sort of Panoti campaign. The word Panoti came on in Twitter and was trending for 3 days.
No, that's a tech. Yeah,
Let me
I understand that.
finish. Let me
You
finish.
understand what I'm saying, Mohan? You understand what I'm saying?
And I've said this on another show that I was on the day that actually Mr. Gandhi said Panoti or used the word Panoti in a rally. He really just said it in jest in a passing moment. I will strongly condemn the Trinamool Congress MP's comment. I want nothing to do with that kind of discourse whatsoever. Regardless of whether an alliance partner or not, we don't have to agree with almost everything an alliance partner.
I commend you for that, Mohan. I commend you for that because that takes doing. That takes doing. Charu, the comment that came from the Trinamool MP is unacceptable. Mohan has drawn the line. He said, I condemn it. We've got nothing to do with that.
Absolutely, and I applaud Mohan for his strong stand, as it should be for occasions like this. But even Panoti was in bad taste. You forget how well Indian sports has done, how our sports people are performing in the global arena. Because again, there has been a push and an effort. Because there is Khelo India, there is every single
you want to give the government credit for the effort taken by sportsmen of our country when you do well, but you don't want any of the blame when we do badly. And I'm not really able to understand what's good for the goose should be good for the gander.
This is of personal importance to me. I didn't interrupt you, Mohan. Now, Shiv might be aware or not, but I want to say this on record. I have been a shooter for India. I have played for India with India on my back. You know why I left shooting at the age of 19? Because there was zero encouragement back then. Alternate sports? Absolutely no future option. Today, no shooter thinks like I used to think 20 years ago, and I think that is fantastic. You might not understand it, but all the youngsters who've changed career tracks only because of a disinterested government in sports. That's why I said even the Panoti comment was in bad taste, and now this one, wanting a Tejas to crash because you hate a prime minister so much that you're willing to put our defense mechanism on the line, our soldiers on the line for it. I think it is beyond shameful. The MP should be telling that MP.
Can we please stop with the melodrama and stick with the facts for once?
Final comment.
I just like to say, please, Charu, please.
Final comment.
I come from a small town called Salem in Tamil Nadu. Shooting as a sport is growing by leaps and bounds because of private shooting arenas coming in many places. Let me finish. For God's sake, I let you go on.
Mohan finish.
Right? Let me just finish. I want to say that if the
Charu, one second, let him speak. I'll give you time.
Let me finish, for God's sake. If you want the Prime Minister and if you want this government to take credit for every sporting achievement that this country has had, then you'd have to take credit or take blame for all our sporting failures as well.
But Mohan, sorry for interrupting you, but your party had a problem when Prime Minister entered the dressing room also. In defeat, he spent time with the cricketers.
Shiv, I don't have a problem with the Prime Minister entering the dressing room as long as the ICC rules permit so, number one. And number two, I think if you look at the video of the cricketers, it was pretty obvious to everybody who can, has a modicum of understanding of body language that they were uncomfortable with the Prime Minister being there. Listen, please, come on. That's what I should say to you. Listen, you know what? I'm going to talk over Charu when she gets her last minute too, because I think it's only fair, right?
Charu, 1 second. Let Mohan have his chance. Let Mohan have his chance for his final comments. Please.
My simple point, Charu, is that when it comes to Tejas, it's really about the silent period. It's really about the Prime Minister finding ways to avoid keeping in compliance with the Election Commission rules. When it comes to sports, I'd like to say that the term Panoti came out of sort of an organic movement online because of the many issues that BCCI created with this tournament. Now, I hope you don't defend BCCI. It's supposed to be an autonomous institution. And I know that your Home Minister's son runs it. But I think you shouldn't defend the way BCCI conducted this tournament. Panoti came out of that. It's unfortunate the Prime Minister was there when we lost. I don't give him credit for our wins, and I don't blame him for our losses. He has nothing to do with it.
Let me just, as a small side comment before I toss it to you, Charu, is to say that nobody will have any argument from me on how BCCI has handled things, no matter who runs it. Let me just say, as an independent channel here, India Today will never defend, shoddy handling and shoddy administration and the fact that millions of fans have been extremely upset with the way things actually went in the World Cup. So let's make no mistake about where India Today stands on such things. But Charu, final comment on the Tejas issue and what Mohan just said.
Thank you. On the Tejas issue, I think the nation for once, including opposition parties, needs to remember that it is a moment of pride for us. And just because you dislike a prime minister so much that you're wishing ill on our soldiers is terrible. TMC needs to take more action. They can just, refusing to come on a debate is definitely not enough. Expel the MP, I say, because you are hitting out at our armed forces. You're
Okay.
wishing for our fighter jets to crash.
Okay, we've heard the Congress condemning what the Trinamool said. The Trinamool is not here to defend themselves, which is a pity because I would have had questions to ask them. The person who said it was a member of parliament, not some lowly functionary within the political, structure of the Trinamool. So that makes it even more upsetting. But thank you very much, Mohan and Charu, for being with me on
Thank you.
discussion number 1 here on 5 Live. Viewer, how did we land up in an age of Murkhon ke Sardar and Panoti insults, I ask you? I think the time has come for us to stop blaming our vibrant democracy for the steadily worsening quality of political conversation. But even with our increasing appetite and tolerance for abusive words passing for political attacks, there is always an unspoken red line. A line you do not cross, because even in this age of broken ideals and decaying morals, some things are simply sacrosanct. Of course, what I hold sacred personally may not be what you do, but I think you, viewer, will agree with me when I say that predicting the crash of a fighter plane because Modi flew in it could be a record new low for what has become possible as political attack. As an extension of the Panoti campaign against the Prime Minister, Trinamool MP Shantanu Sen, this guy in the glasses you see here, casually announced today that having been graced by the Prime Minister, we can now be sure that a Tejas fighter aircraft will crash next. What this shameless member of parliament forgets is that the families of fighter pilots are watching an elected representative practically will a crash to happen because of his political misgivings about Modi. I've interacted with the families of fighter pilots, viewer, for the last 20 years or so, written about them, tracked their lives, their hopes, their dreams. I've lost count of the number of fathers, mothers, wives, children who meditate and pray for the entire duration that their loved ones are on a fighter sortie. This is not because of a lack of trust in pilots or the Air Force, but because for family members it's become a habit. I know a pilot deployed at a base in Rajasthan whose wife receives a WhatsApp message from her husband minutes before he is to take off. As soon as she hears the fighter roar off the runway, she runs to their puja room. She remains there until she receives a message from her husband telling her that he has landed safely. More than pilots, an entire community of flight engineers, ground crew, maintenance staff, aeronautical scientists are all directly linked to the well-being of fighter aircraft. For developers and builders, aircraft are like your own child. The Tejas is only the second fighter aircraft that India has developed and built in its history. As a country with the dubious reputation of being one of the largest importers of military hardware, the Tejas is a shining example of our will to be self-reliant. The Tejas program has had many years of development, challenges and delays, but the aircraft has now been in service for years. And I can tell you that pilots love the Tejas. They love flying it, they love what it can do, and they cannot wait for an improved version of the Tejas that begins delivery next year to meet an order for 83 aircraft worth $6.5 billion. For no less than a member of parliament to be so bloodless and cynical as to casually prophesize the crash of an aircraft because someone he dislikes flew in it is an insult to all pilots, to their families, to the Indian Air Force, and to the military in general. It is a message to them from this member of parliament and the political class in general that the impulse for political insult does not respect lines of sanctity, does not respect life. For all the amazing science and tech that goes into the making of a fighter aircraft, I can tell you that fighter pilots and their families are a superstitious lot when it comes to aviation. The logic is, if the work you do literally requires you to occupy a very thin line between life and death, then showing some respect to fate and providence cannot hurt. Why even tempt fate? Even if you aren't superstitious in general, when it comes to the life of a loved one, all those disclaimers evaporate. And that's why Trinamool MP Shantanu Sen's words cross a very sacred line. In his eagerness to tarnish a political rival, he has affronted the military, telling them their hopes and dreams don't matter in the shadow of election compulsions. To end, viewer, I'd like to say simply this. The Tejas first flew in 2001. The fleet has spent a cumulative 22 years in the air with nearly a decade of operational service with the Indian Air Force. And in all this time, it hasn't suffered one single crash. Not one single crash. I am an atheist. I'm a non-believer, viewer, and don't believe in superstitions at all. But today I'll make an exception by praying that the unkind words of an MP never ever come true. I hope the Tejas and its pilots always have happy landings. A wish I extend to all our pilots, no matter what they're flying. Thank you for listening. And just 4 years ago, well, 4 years before the Prime Minister, I had the privilege of strapping into a Tejas fighter to fly it for nearly an hour over Bengaluru. Take a look at what it was like flying the Tejas. Locked, loaded, and ready for battle. India today was invited to meet the Air Force's newest member. Well, not just meet, but actually fly the light combat aircraft Tejas. First things first, I obviously couldn't wear just about anything for the flight. A team from the Tejas program helps me get into full fighter pilot gear. From the flying suit, to the boots, the G-suit to counter the dangerous levels of acceleration force, or G in a fast jet. And finally the fighter helmet with an oxygen mask. Now fully kitted out, I get to meet the man who'll be commanding the flight. And given the circumstances, I couldn't have possibly asked for a greater pilot to be in charge. This is Air Vice Marshal N. Tiwari, Chief of the National Flight Test Center that oversees the testing and proving process of the LCA Tejas. Briefed and ready for the mission, we head out to the tarmac. On a scorching hot Bengaluru day, as we reach the flight line, the LCA Tejas jets finally loom into view. A pair of them from the actual Air Force squadron that flies them now. After several minutes of checks, we taxi out. The cockpit is a cozy little space with a multitude of flat panel displays designed to give pilots every possible piece of information they could need while in the air. Then we wait for clearance to take off. Once in the air, the pilot instantly banks sharply to the right, demonstrating the LCA's excellent responsiveness and agility in the air. Cruising out west of Bengaluru, the jet is throttled up and prepared for a list of maneuvers to demonstrate just how nimble this jet is. From a barrel roll to a high G loop, to a few minutes where I'm given control of this fighter jet. The fully Indian control laws are super evident in this fighter's supremely excellent reflexes. From start to finish, I've spent just over 2 hours with Team Tejas. And it has begun to become clear why a fighter jet that was once derided is now being embraced by a new generation of Indian fighter pilots, just like the Mirage 2000 once was in the 1980s and 90s. Well, the LCA Tejas took its first flight back in 2001. It was Atal Bihari Vajpayee who christened it the Tejas, Radiance. Well, for India's very own aviation effort, this hopefully will be an era of radiance. With the LCA Tejas here at the Yelahanka Air Base, with video journalist Shiv Aroor, this is Shiv Aroor for India Today. An absolutely beautiful aircraft that the Air Force absolutely adores. Thanks very much for watching the first segment of 5 Live. On the other side of this very short break, we're going straight back to Uttar Kashi, where it is day 16 of 41 workers trapped in a collapsed tunnel. Vertical drilling has begun and more challenges have emerged. We'll tell you where things are at when you're back.
You are watching India Today, powered by Finest, Be Sustainable Change, a BNP Group company.
For the last month, I've been crisscrossing the battleground states from Rajasthan to Telangana through Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. It's that reportage experience that I hope to bring to our coverage of the exit poll. Not just studio number crunching, but also the ground zero experience. The complete package on our exit poll coverage, the exact poll, only on India Today.
High-frequency electromagnetic fields will interfere with the functioning of your heart. Simply put, it's your mobile phone which is interfering with the functioning of your heart, especially when you put it in the left pocket of your shirt and think it's going to do nothing. It's a myth. It will cause you problems. Take a look at this report.
Electronic gadgets make life very convenient and bring the world to our fingertips, with meals, clothes and vacations just a thought away. But did you know that at the same time, your device is secretly stealing from you the very life that it's making oh so easy? Yes, you heard that right. Your mobile phone may actually increase your susceptibility to cardiovascular diseases. High-frequency electromagnetic fields increase the risk of heart disease. These invisible waves impact your heart rate when you keep your mobile near your chest. The radiation from mobile phones increases free radicals, a reactive oxygen species which damage cells and also your DNA. It's been found that mobile phones, earpods and smartwatches are also the leading cause of headaches, numbness in thighs, dizziness and heaviness in the chest. We hope that the penny has dropped and not your phone. With Dhruv Yadav, Bureau Report for India Today.
You are watching India Today, powered by Finest, Be Sustainable Change, a BNP Group company.
Brush, toothpaste, and maybe a tongue cleaner. Is that all you use? And only go to the dentist with a cavity or when there is an urgent root canal? Alright, you do what most people do. But dental care and oral hygiene is much, much more than that. As the saying goes, prevention is better than cure. And that's the reason why prophylaxis dental treatment is important. Now, prophylaxis is defined as an action taken to prevent disease. How many of us think of prevention? In this list is also scaling and root planing, also known as deep dental cleaning. Deep cleaning is the removal of plaque, tartar and bacteria below the gum line from periodontal pockets. When you don't do deep cleaning, flossing every day is important. This is how we do it. Dentists say that outside of India, at least 20 to 30% of the population floss. But the Indian population percentage is actually in single digits. Doctors also recommend interdental cleaning. Here's how it's done. Interdental brushes come in many different sizes. It can be difficult to know which one is the most suitable for your mouth. For the best advice, ask a dental professional for their recommendation. Next on our list is cross-debridement. This is dental cleaning designed to locate and determine any additional teeth issues initially missed prior to a dental cleaning.
Co-presented by Aapka Joy, Bharat Ka Joy, Joy E-Bike. Co-presented by Nexa, Create Inspire. Co-powered by Parul University, Vadodara, Gujarat.
And the state of war, Telangana right ahead of polling is in top gear. Prime Minister Modi in the heart of Hyderabad leading a big roadshow that brings to an end the BJP's very, very high-tempo campaign there. I'm joined live by Abdul, Apurva, Akshita, but I'd like to start with Nagarjun, who's at the place where that roadshow has started. Lots of noise. I'm hoping that all of my colleagues are able to hear me. Nagarjun, the big Modi roadshow. Tell us what you're seeing.
Shiv, can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Go ahead, Naga.
Shiv, I'm hoping you can hear me because there's a lot of noise here. The Prime Minister just started his roadshow at the RTC Cross Junction here in Hyderabad. The people of Hyderabad here are thrilled to see the Prime Minister in such close quarters. Let me take voices from the people here who have come here to see the Prime Minister. Ela anpinchindi ma'am neeku chusi Prime Minister ni?
Chala baga happy-ga feel ayyam.
Happy-ga feel ayyara? First time chusindi meeru?
Avanandi.
Meer cheppandi.
Chusam.
हमारे हैदराबाद में नरेंद्र मोदी जी आए, हमें बहुत खुशी हुई। आशा पूर्ण करते हैं टी राजा सिंह की गोशामहल की सीट भारी मतों से जीते, हमारी यही अभिलाषा है। और अगली बार तेलंगाना में, इस बार तेलंगाना में भाजपा सरकार विन करे। जय मोदी, जय योगी, जय राजा सिंह।
खुशी की बार प्राइम मिनिस्टर आए हैदराबाद को रोड शो करे, कैसा लग रहा है आपको?
हम लोग हैदराबाद से एलबी नगर से आए कल प्राइम मिनिस्टर को देखने को। इतना धन्य हो गया प्राइम मिनिस्टर देखने के बाद, और भगवान को देखते ना इतना अच्छा हो गया देखने के बाद।
Shiv, as you heard the followers of Prime Minister Modi saying that they were thrilled to see the Prime Minister in such close quarters, hardly 10 to 15 feet away. The Prime Minister, the moment he came, greeted everyone like he does always, waved at them and kick-started his roadshow, which is going to be for the next 1 hour, 3 to 4 kilometers, and ending at Veer Savarkar Statue Junction here in Hyderabad. The talking points for the Prime Minister has been the corruption, allegations on corruption within the BRS government, Parivarwad of the Congress party, and also the push from the BJP party to make the backward community member their chief minister candidate if come to power is the biggest promise that the BJP has made here. So these are the talking points that the Prime Minister has made in his public rallies. But today he's ending his show with the road show here in Hyderabad, and then he's going to head back to Delhi. This was the same agenda in Bengaluru also that we saw in the recent Bengaluru-Karnataka elections, that he had a big roadshow, but this is a smaller roadshow in Hyderabad. But the atmosphere is quite ecstatic because the full road is filled with BJP supporters.
Huge ocean of supporters out to see Prime Minister Modi. Very, very familiar sight, very much like the Bengaluru roadshow after the elections as well. Flowers being thrown on the Prime Minister's cavalcade as he makes his way through at this point of time. Akshita, I want to come to you now. You've been traveling across Telangana along with our fantastic team, Apurva and Abdul, who I'll be going to also in a moment. This one of the most high-profile campaigns in this election has been mounted by a party that is seen as a number 3 in this entire fight. What do you think of the Prime Minister's very sort of high-voltage roadshow, bringing it all to a close, Akshita?
Shiv, there's been a lot of talk about this being a triangular contest, but there's no doubt that the BRS and the Congress have the edge here. If anyone can turn it around for the BJP, it's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, which is why they're pulling all stops right now in the last leg of the campaign to go all out here in the city of Hyderabad, where previously they won only one seat. They won only in Koshamel. Let me talk to some of the women here. Many of them gathered here with messages. Tell us, why are you here? Are you excited to see the Prime Minister? Sorry? Are you excited to see the Prime Minister? Absolutely. Where have you come from? And do you think the BJP will win?
Yeah, I think yes. This time we have huge chances. I think yes, we will.
आप बताइए, आपको tell us, are you excited?
तेलंगाना बहुत एक्साइटेड है क्योंकि हमारे बीच में विश्व के और भारत के विश्व के प्रसिद्ध और भारत के लोकप्रिय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी आ रहे हैं और तेलंगाना का रुख अभी बिल्कुल बदल चुका है। पिछले 5 दिनों में जो बाजी पलटी है, इस बार 30 नवंबर को इतिहास रचने वाला है। तो
बोल रहे हैं बीआरएस और कांग्रेस आगे है, क्या आपको लगता है कि बीआरएस और कांग्रेस आगे है?
देखिए, बीआरएस और कांग्रेस की लड़ाई में भाजपा कब बाजी मारेगी पता नहीं चलेगा, क्योंकि कांग्रेस का इतिहास सबको पता है और कांग्रेस के और बीआरएस के चक्कर में बीजेपी कब बाजी मारेगी पता नहीं चलेगी। और इस बार पक्का 2024 भाजपा।
The aura itself proves. The people you see here waiting and excited, it says it all.
Okay, let me talk to more people. A lot of them wanting to speak about the support that they have for Prime Minister Modi. It's one factor here, essentially, Shiv, that's got all of these people, thousands of them really coming together. Sir, tell me, what has brought you here to this?
बहुत पसंद था अनुभव कर रहे हैं, आज मोदी हमारे बीच में आ रहे हैं और बहुत पसंद की बात है। हैदराबाद वाले का पूरा दिल प्रसन्न है, बिल्कुल हम उनके लिए स्वागत में उत्सुक खड़े हैं।
सर, आप बताइए, आप तो एमएलए कैंडिडेट है यहाँ पे। सो विद द प्राइम मिनिस्टर, प्रधानमंत्री अभी आ रहे हैं, तो आपको लगता है कि आपकी कैंपेन के लिए और अच्छा मजबूत आ जाता है?
यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री जी के आवागमन से पहले तो बहुत अच्छा था। तेलंगाना में भारतीय जनता पार्टी का मुख्यमंत्री बन रहा है और यहाँ पे अधिक से अधिक सीटें जीतकर फिर यहाँ डबल इंजन की सरकार बनेगी।
हैदराबाद में आप तो कारवान से कंटेस्ट कर रहे हो, जहाँ एआईएमआईएम स्ट्रॉन्ग है यहाँ पे, तो आपको लगता है कि इस बार थोड़ा फर्क पड़ेगा, क्योंकि अब तक राजा सिंह ही 1 सीट जीता है हैदराबाद में।
माइनॉरिटीज के वास्ते बहुत सारे प्रोग्राम दिए हैं, जिसमें 370 भी है और बहुत सारे वालों के लिए, काफी मुस्लिम्स के लिए, माइनॉरिटी भाइयों के लिए प्रोग्राम मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में बहुत अच्छा। देश में सारे मुस्लिम भाई भी मोदी जी की तरफ पलट के देख रहे हैं। इवन पाकिस्तान में भी नारे लग रहे हैं, मोदी 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 जैसा प्राइम मिनिस्टर।
As people are gathered here in large numbers, they're waiting for the Prime Minister to come through. I'll just show you what's happening around as well. You can see all around there are people who've gathered, flags, posters, all of it put up here. In about 2-3 minutes from now, we're expecting that the Prime Minister will be reaching here as well. Huge welcome for him here in the city of Hyderabad. A lot of these people are coming from seats where they believe that the BJP this time will make huge inroads. And I can tell you that in many of these cases, while you see people coming together, at these rallies, it's a very organic crowd here, and that really stands out for me. Let's see if people are willing to speak to us as well. आप सब बताइए कि आप यहाँ क्यों आए हैं? मोदी देखने के लिए, क्या बीजेपी बीजेपी के लिए वोट भी करेंगे या सिर्फ मोदी जी देख के चले जाएंगे? Are you going to also go ahead and vote for the BJP?
Yes, we'll get the most vote to only BJP.
And do you think the BJP will win this time?
Surely it will win.
Okay, all right. So a lot of people here saying that there's a serious chance of BJP winning. I'm going to toss it back to you for the moment, Shiv, as we get you all of these images right now from the roadshow.
You cannot ever fault the BJP for not having enough energy in an election campaign. The BJP will have its critics. There may be those who are wondering what this is all about. Does the BJP know something that other people don't? But the energy is always there, and there's this big dependence on Prime Minister Modi's own persona. Apurva is also a journalist who's been on the front lines of this war for Telangana. Apurva, the BJP has had leadership troubles in Telangana. There is a perceived dependence on the Modi factor as well in all elections. Has that been the case this time as well?
Well, Shiv, it's quite interesting that you've now mentioned it because, in BJP, especially here in Telangana, we've seen quite a number of leaders come and go. We've seen state presidents that have been consecutively changed due to internal politics that takes place. We're seeing tall leaders here like Bandi Sanjay, Raja Singh, and several others who have been named time and again, who have been changed. There's been some kind of internal politics always at play here in Telangana. Remember, Telangana is one state that the BJP has time and again tried to, enter into. We've seen in the Dubaka elections as well what had happened. They had received a considerable amount of seats which had boosted the morale here for the BJP. But one thing that I will tell you is even, right now, the Union Minister of Tourism as well as the state president here is Kishan Reddy. He had been replaced by, Bandi Sanjay. He's been one of the monumental speakers for the BJP here. We've seen Raja Singh and several others as well. These kind of internal politics at play is what has been, an interesting point, especially with the BJP in Telangana. Even right now, we're seeing the crowd that has arrived here. Interestingly, all of them are voting for each and every leader here. One of them saying they want Bandi Sanjay to be the CM, they want Kishan Reddy to be the CM, Raja Singh to lead here from Hyderabad. So all of these interesting names that are coming back. So it is going to be an interesting battle for the BJP. Yes, should it win, if it should win in the upcoming Telangana elections, not only is it going to be a big boost for the...
All right, Apurva, thanks very much for that live report. We're going to continue bringing you these special images from Telangana. Remember, 6 to 7 p.m. with Akshita on the ground and our fantastic team of reporters bringing you the rest of this roadshow live here on India Today. For the moment, on the other side of this very, very short break, we're bringing you the homecoming of Hardik Pandya. What is that all about? We'll tell you after this break.
You are watching India Today, powered by Finest. Be Sustainable Change, a BNP Group company.